Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Politics, our regular examination of the events happening right here in the Quinte region and the people who work so hard behind the scenes to make it all happen. I'm your host, Paul Martin. Joining me, as always, my regular co-host, columnist for the Belleville Intelligencer, Colin McKay.
Thanks, Paul.
And our very special guest, new to the city of Belleville and one of its most important positions, the Fire Chief and Head of Emergency Services, Monique Belair. Or do you prefer Chief Belair?
No, Monique Belair is perfect.
Okay. So, Monique, let's talk about you're brand new. Thank you so much again for coming on the show, and especially now because this is your opportunity to be introduced to the people of Belleville, because the swearing-in ceremony, which is always such a key and a moving moment for a fire chief and for the city that they're taking over for, just happened not that long ago. So can you go back in your mind and think, what was it like on that day that the ceremony happened?
I think I was extremely proud, very nervous, obviously, being in front of council and people that I had never met before, but so emotional because my children were there to share it with me, and friends and colleagues that had mentored me throughout the 35 plus years that I've been in the fire service, and everybody that's trying to figure out the math right now. I was 10 when I started, so if the camera won't give me 10 years, I'm going to do it myself. So it was, it's the culmination of, so when you hold your hand up and you do that oath, I take the oath very seriously. I've only done that oath one other time, and that's when I joined the Canadian Armed Forces and pledged allegiance to my country. So pledging allegiance to the city of Belleville, as their leader in fire services, and promising this community that I would do everything to keep them fire safe is a huge commitment and a huge oath that I take very, very seriously. So,
reaching out to the community, working in the community is a key part of it, and you spearheaded an incredible initiative during your last stop, which is Camp Molly, which is something you'd like to bring here. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So in 2018, I went to the Commissioner of Municipal Council and the Fire Chief of the day saying I had an idea. I wanted to bring an initiative forward specifically gender-oriented towards young girls who identify obviously as females. And the reason why is the statistics are still really bad. Less than 3% of the fire service in North America is females. The fire service trade is actually the lowest employer of females in any trade out there. So I wanted to understand 35 years later why we were not seeing more women apply, and we don't, and why we didn't see more women. We still have fire departments that don't have women on them. So I wanted to understand what the problem was. And I decided that we needed to target the 15 to 18-year-olds. We needed to get them when they were at the high school age, before they already mapped out their career. And what really got it started was I do a lot of mentoring of young women. Any chance I get, I speak or I get involved in a mentorship program. So Pam Demoff, the Member of Parliament, she ran a program. It's called Women as Career Coaches Mentoring. And so she reached out to me and asked if I would take some girls at the fire department. I said, for sure I would. So I had two girls come in one day, and they were supposed to spend 3 days with me. And the one girl was there, and we were waiting for the other girl, and waiting. She came in, she was all flustered. And I said to her, what's wrong? She goes, oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. My dad didn't want me to come. And I said, oh, did he think it was too dangerous because you were coming to the training campus? You know, we would never put you in harm's way. She said, no, my dad said, women can't be firefighters. Don't waste your career day at the fire department. She said, no, Dad, the Oakville Fire Department actually has a female deputy fire chief. And he says, no, they don't. She goes, yeah, they do. She said, my dad looked you up on LinkedIn, confirmed, couldn't believe how long you'd actually been in the fire service, and that's the only reason she was allowed to come.
So you have a lot of barriers and attitudes to break down.
So, and that's 35 years later. So that's when I said, okay, I got to break some of the myths here. I've got to get into schools. We've got to promote this. So council approved it, especially some of the female councillors were really supportive of the initiative. But I wanted to reach out to the other 3 fire services in Halton Region and not just target Oakville schools. So we actually have Burlington, Milton, Halton Hills, and Oakville involved in this initiative. So we reached out to the schools, the guidance counselors, what can we do? Reached out to different stakeholder groups, because I didn't want anybody not to be able to do it because it was cost prohibitive. Like they couldn't get there, they couldn't get safety shoes. Inga from Sandy Gear, wonderful woman, another empowering woman, has her own business. She does a lot of the bunker gear for different fire services, for cleaning and that. She supplies all the bunker gear. She custom fits it, because I said the girls can't come wearing used bunker gear that the pants are too long, you know, the sleeves are too short. Like if they're uncomfortable, they're not going to like the experience. So got lots of support throughout the community. Honestly, I was amazed.
So that she donated the gear?
Yep.
Basically?
Yep. The first year we had 24 girls. We had like 60 apply. So unfortunately, they had to write an essay on why they wanted to come to Camp Molly. It was 3 days at that time. And the selection was really difficult.
Do they have to meet a height requirement?
No, that's gone now.
That's
No more
gone?
height requirement. They're good to go.
So tell us a little bit about why the name Camp Molly, because I think there's a little bit of a history there.
So there are different camps out there. There's like Camp Ignite, Camp Firefit, but that's totally geared just towards firefighting. And Camp Molly is different because it does fire investigations, it does public education. I just want to show them, you know what, even if you don't want to be on a fire truck, there are other options. Like if you like science, try fire investigation. So I wanted to trace my camp, or the camp, I shouldn't say mine. I wanted to trace it back to its roots and women in the fire service. And the first recognized female firefighter in North America is Molly. And she was a black slave back in 1818. So what better empowering message could I give to the young girls coming to this camp that talk about obstacles? Can you imagine a female black slave being recognized as the first firefighter in North America? So she's a beacon to us, and she's on all of our labels and everything like that. So fast forward to 2020, we've expanded the camp. We've added an extra day. It is the only camp that is running in Ontario for firefighting.
So are you hoping to get Camp Molly or Camp, a
Camp
name
Molly
like
2.0.
in Belleville,
Yeah,
or the Belleville area?
Yes, I want to bring it down to the Quinte West area. I'd like to get the other departments involved so that we can provide this opportunity to more than just the young girls in Belleville, and bring them on board, because, you know, obviously there are still stumbling blocks, and I would love to see these girls see it as an option, a viable option for them.
Without further ado, I'll hand you over to Colin for Colin's Corner.
Thanks, Paul. Well, Monique, welcome. And the questions aren't too difficult, but do you have a particular animal that's a favorite, or?
I have 2 German Shepherds.
Oh, I love those dogs.
That are so spoiled, let me tell you. Oh my goodness. And the hardest part, I think, of being in Belleville right now is I'm waiting to move into my new home. So I'm temporarily in private accommodations, so my dogs are not here with me. So I'm finding it a little lonely without my puppies.
But they'll soon be arriving.
Yes, very soon.
Excellent. Okay, my next question, do you have a particular beverage, morning, day, or night that you indulge in that you would like to share with us? Or?
So even though I was with Oakville Fire, I never moved to Oakville. I stayed in St. Catharines. And you know, there's 165 wineries. So I will say maybe part of the attraction to the City of Belleville Fire Service might be Prince Edward County. So I'll leave it for you to figure out what my favorite beverage might be after that.
Well, there's a lot of them around. There's sandbanks, and there's all sorts of them. Anyways, so the next question, like, do you have a particular car or make of car that you prefer to drive around in? Or?
So I have a work vehicle, obviously. I have the pickup, but for fun, I have my Hyundai Genesis Turbo that I bring out in the summer that I really enjoy driving.
Any particular color?
Black. Always black. And everybody goes, red, you should say red, but I drive a red truck during the day, so this is my side.
All right, this question is a little bit more in-depth, I suppose. So if you had a wish list of anything that you could change in Canada, the world, or Ontario, or Canada, or even around here, is there something major that you would wish? Like, it's a pretty broad question.
You will see me say it in almost every statement, in anything that I do. Any interview will be be open to change. People can say, "Oh yeah, I handle change. Change doesn't bother me." Very few people really are open to change when you think about it. So,
well, we thank you for taking what you learned with them and through all these jobs and bringing it here to Belleville. We're glad to have you. This has been Beyond the Politics with Belleville Fire Chief Monique Belair.